Well, I am beyond thrilled right now because Annie F. Downs, you are here.
I'm here. You're together.
On the Rachel Cruze Show.
I'm thrilled about it. It's
How
one of
does
my
that
very
feel?
favorite shows.
Oh, it is?
I watch them all.
Thanks,
I love
Annie.
it. I think it's so fun. I'm just sorry we're not doing a cooking segment.
Have you seen
next
mine?
time, can we do a cooking segment?
100%.
Like, how do you cook if you don't cook? That would be my cooking segment.
That's basically my cooking segment.
Right.
Okay, so Annie is a speaker and an author and actually a friend, a real life friend of mine. And so we were talking, I was like, Annie, you have to come on the show because a lot of you know who Annie F. Downs is. You listen to her podcast and all the above. But for people that don't know you,
Sure.
Annie, like, what do you do? Like, who are you?
Yeah. What I want to do with my life is communicate who God is through my story. And so sometimes that comes out in book form, and sometimes that's in the podcast form, and sometimes that's speaking on stages. There's, my pastor just taught about this a couple of days ago, but taught about your spiritual gifts and like why you're on the planet and
Yes.
and the joy you find. He was saying, so many people feel selfish when they found the thing they're really good at because they go, I didn't know it was supposed to feel good. I thought if I was doing good for the planet, it would feel like I was sacrificing or it would feel hard. And there are pieces of that, right?
Sure,
but
sure.
there's also this like, man, is this supposed to be this much fun?
Yes.
Is it supposed to, and you know my life very well. I cry a lot, things go wrong a lot. It's not a perfect existence by any stretch, but there is this like, man, who knew work could be this fun?
I love it. Yeah, and your books are just phenomenal. You just had one released earlier last year.
Yeah,
Remember God.
Remember God.
And just fantastic. And your podcast, that sounds fun.
Oh my gosh, you and Winston are still one of the best episodes.
No.
People oh my gosh, y'all are like top 5 of 180 or something. Yeah, people
It's the
love
only
it.
thing, Winston, if you want to hear Winston Cruze, because he won't be on my show, but he'll be on Annie's podcast. Go.
It was so good.
I know. So when Winston and I were on your podcast, we were talking about every dollar.
Yes, because I used it.
Did you use it?
And I was able to buy a condo because I used every dollar. For real. I would never lie about this. It's the best,
Yes.
and I like it.
So
and
what'd you
really
do? You
helps.
saved money every month. Like,
Yeah.
what was your goals?
Yeah.
Talk to me about this.
My goal was to save my down payment.
Yes.
And then once I had half my down payment, then I started looking because I knew that once I started looking that I had a little more time.
Yep.
And then it did end up happening a little fast, so I had to readjust some things.
Yes.
But it's been really helpful. Now that my house is there, I need to redo some of the saving. You may need to help me because I need to redo so I can decorate.
You need to come back on and let's
Okay.
do a budget makeover.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Annie F. Downs.
Oh, I would. Yes, I need it. Let's
Okay.
do it. So then I can
It's
buy
gonna
what I
happen.
need for my house. I can like do some things.
Be grateful and content all at the same time.
That's right. That's right. And have a cute house. All the things.
Very important. Okay, so we're in February now.
Yeah.
And the stats are that 80% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions in February.
That's awful.
I know.
That's so sad.
So I think, and kind of what we're talking about a little bit, like with like not, if you're not satisfied of where you are in life, whether your job or not, like what do you do? Where do you find contentment? Where do you find joy when life doesn't turn out the way you thought, right?
Yeah.
Like it's February and you probably thought, oh, this is going to be a new year. And you're like, 2 months in already. And you're like, all right, it sucks just like it did last year or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's like, how do you find contentment and joy when things are not going?
And I don't know that you and I have ever talked about this, but I don't do New Year's resolutions.
You don't.
I do New Year's experiments. And what I say is, if I did this for a whole year, what would be different? And it is really hard to quit an experiment.
Yes.
It's a lot easier to quit a resolution because you're like, I'm going to do this. No, I'm not.
Yes.
But because it's an experiment, I'm not willing to quit on it.
It's good.
So that's one part of that.
Yep.
The other part is we are never, I'm sorry to bring this news to you in a February day. We're just never going to have everything we want.
I always say the finish line always moves.
It always moves.
And that's it. And that's true even with salaries. I know I've talked about this, but there was a study done, which I think is so fascinating.
Yeah.
And they talked to people that made $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
They said, is that enough? Like, do you feel rich? And they're like, no. They're like, well, how much would you need? $200,000.
Yeah.
They went to someone that made $200,000. Do you feel rich? No. How much would you need? $500,000. And it's
Right.
like, once you get there, but you're right. It keeps moving.
It just keeps moving.
So how do you think you got there? Because there's a lot of people that have jobs, right? And they're in a career, they're in this like state of mind, this life cycle, and they're not having fun. Like they're in this moment of like, maybe it's their job. So like how did you find your lane?
If you can back up, our friends who are with us that are saying like, man, my job is not working for me.
Yep.
But here are the 4 things that make me feel really alive at my job. And then here are the other things. In fact, all my jobs kind of have this one central, oh, I really like to help people.
Interesting. Yep.
And then you go, okay, is there a different career where I could still express my calling that looks different than this? Because, I used to teach elementary school.
Yes.
And it is literally the same gift. I entertain people long enough that they learn something. I just did it with fourth graders. And now I do it on Sunday mornings at churches or at conferences or in books.
Yep.
Right. But I think how I found it is I laid out my whole life in front of me, literally on note cards. And I went like, oh my gosh, I like entertaining people, but it can't be purposeless.
And you took the time and the intentionality to put it on note cards. You said do it. And that's the thing. I mean, like, it's true with your money, it's true with your career, your family, your friendships, all the above. You have to be intentional.
What is the thing you say about debt or about budgeting? It doesn't tell you how you can't spend your money. It tells you how you can.
Yes, a budget doesn't limit your freedom. It gives you freedom.
Thank you. Praises. That's it.
And
that's the same. That is the same when you're figuring out your calling.
Yep.
It isn't going to limit you to look at your life. It's going to actually expand.
So good.
And so with things like what you say at the beginning of the new year, I would say you can just start over today. Just like tell yourself, like, who do I want to be at the end of the year?
Yep.
And what would it take to be that, right? Mm-hmm. But also it's like, it is okay for you to not be content with this.
Yes.
And what's actually true is we shouldn't tell ourselves not to want. We should just learn, what does it look like to want well? Mm-hmm. How do you want things that you don't have without making them an idol? And how do you find contentment, even if you haven't been who you always wanted to be, and even if you've stopped your New Year's resolution? And so what does it actually look like to, like, okay, how do I build a life and a story where I want things and I'm honest about it?
Yes.
You need to have a list of, here's some things that I want that I don't have. And there are people on the planet who know that.
Yep.
And here are the things I have I do not deserve.
Yep.
And I am thankful for those.
So
I think
good.
making yourself only choose one of those lists will make for a more painful life.
I think that's so true. And I've never thought about that before, but holding both, because like we talk about gratitude a lot, right? Because gratitude leads to contentment. So those things that you're so grateful for. But there are going to be the things that you're like, I'm not okay with. I want something different. And sometimes that's good because that stretches you, that lets you find that goal that you're like, okay, I want to reach for that. Or here's something I'm going to pray about. And it's like, God, you have to show up in this, right? And
that's
so having
totally
both. So in the disappointment camp, I think some people watching who know you, and they're like, oh, she has this podcast and books. Or some people may, look at me and think, oh, she has this great show. But there's disappointments in life. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's as easy as when I don't get the flight home that I want to get home. Yes. And I miss out on a wedding or a dinner or whatever, and I get frustrated and I'm disappointed that didn't happen. It's going on a first date that doesn't lead to a second date. Yep. How book sales go are great, but they may not always meet some expectation that you've set.
Totally.
And so work stuff can always you set out books after you've been speaking and you bring 195 of them sell and you go, oh, I didn't 100 sell.
Or 5 sell.
Right.
You take 95 home with you.
Right. I mean, listen.
That's happened.
Let me tell you about a heavy suitcase. Is the one that's full of books you're bringing back home.
Totally.
So I have to work to go like, man, this didn't work and that is okay.
Yeah. And kind of owning it and saying it out loud because that's, I think that's so good.
Yeah. And I just think it makes, what I've seen in my life, so I can't speak for anybody else, what I've seen in my life is that owning my wants and owning my disappointments and owning my joys has made me more connected with me. Mm-hmm. I've become a more unified Annie.
And one of the things I love about you, and out of all my friends, you're probably like the highest on the list for this, is you dig into yourself and who you are. Like, you've done so much work. But when you understand your wants and desires, you're able to, in a very healthy way, just like you were saying, I love the 2 pictures of having that gratitude and then having the discontentment of sometimes it's a good thing because it pushes you to what you want or has you trust, in the future in that sense. So,
luckily, I have people in my life that remind me that the reason we do all that work on ourselves is to be better for others. Like, remember that there is more to this. And so that means a lot that you say that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so where can everyone find you?
So Annie F. Downs everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's my website, all the places.
I love it. So good.
Yeah. Love you. I love your show.
Thanks. Thanks
Glad
for
to
being
be
on here. Seriously. Thanks. Everyone, check out everything she's doing. Buy the books, listen to the podcast, follow her on social. She's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annie.